So we have the story of the cool, calm, well-seasoned guide king, the Aragon, who is the hidden king or the unknown king. And, you know, in the Rider-Waite, I often see how one of the wands is bolted to the wall. And it reminds me, oh, this is the 2. Forgive me. Not the 2. We want the 3, which looks a lot like your surfer. Oh, it's right there.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. This one I call like the bread is in the oven. Like you've got all the ingredients. You're like, why? I can't eat the bread because it has to heat up a bit. This one, the 5 of Wands, I often describe as being like Thanksgiving dinner at my family, where you have a lot of passionate, excited voices all vying for attention, and how easy it is to harm one another when you're in this place. But if you have self-control, it can be a vibrant conversation, a creative conflict.
That's a very cool way to look at it.
So thinking about monthly medicine, then I'm curious what March medicine, did you end up focusing, was it the Lovers? No.
It was the Devil.
The Devil. Oh, which is also so interesting to me because that came up today. I told you.
Really?
It's up in a lot in my life. Yes. I stumbled on a really interesting tarot spread, and I want to have time to share it with you. But yes, the Devil just came up today as the lesson that I am currently learning. So appropriate that it is here. Hello, Devil. Good. I'm not going to reveal mine yet.
Okay, so where are my notes? There we go. Yeah, so I don't know. Do you want me to tell you what I came up with and see what you have to say? Okay, so I was looking at it. So the notes that I came up with, I love the card, and I work with the Devil a lot. It comes up for me a lot. So the notes that I took were, the Devil is the nudge to delve into your own shadows. He will bring you there, and then it's up to you to either fall into darkness or to work on healing your own relationships with your own heart. Feeling stuck financially and job-wise is, I think, why it's coming up for me. Self-sabotage and food addictions are things that I can fall into very easily when I'm just not paying attention. And the questions, what aspect of you is seeking liberation from self-imposed chains? And what healing message of acceptance and forgiveness does the shadow hold?
Do the last one again.
What healing message of self-acceptance and forgiveness does the shadow hold? And I don't think it's surprising that my favorite essential oil blend is Forgive. And I'm wearing it right now.
You know, that was the title of my newsletter. Like, that was the, like, legit got message from one of my Oracle decks, was like, what you're supposed to do right now is talk about forgiveness.
Oh my gosh.
My whole blog post is about it. That's like all the content I've been creating last week. Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
Synchronicities, not coincidences, right?
I know. I love it. We're on point. Can you go back to the top though? You were talking about like something about listening to the heart, shadow work.
Yes. It's up to you whether to fall into darkness or to work on healing your own relationship with your heart.
So I focused on, in the tarot circle, strength card, which is, when you lay the cards out, Major Arcana 777. I don't know if you've ever done that before.
Oh, I never thought to do that.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. It's
Okay.
it's a must do. So many connections. Oh my goodness. Because they're seen as like the 3 phases of the hero's journey. So you do Magician to Chariot.
Okay.
And that is it's really like all about self and your community and like everything that's on the outside, your peripheral, and how you define yourself by your origins.
Okay.
The second phase is the strength card to Temperance. Okay. And this is a lot of like, okay, you've left your home. Who are you when you're free of all this peripheral stuff?
Okay.
And then the Devil starts the final phase, and it goes Devil to the World. And it's really about, once you can come to the self-acceptance, then you become the hollow reed. It is the process of becoming the hollow reed through which like divine spirit channels, moves, and flows.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which you can't do when you don't accept yourself, because you're all blocked up and tight and you like can't be open. So the Devil. So then if you look at them on top of each other, the Magician is on top of Strength, and Strength is on top of the Devil. So they're kind of like these interesting like leaps. And they're also, in the Rider-Waite, they're the only characters that have symbols above their heads. The Magician.
Are they all the ones with the infinity symbol?
Mm-hmm. And then the Devil is an upside down star. It's kind of like, to me, like a mangled entanglement of energy, that upside down pentacle.
It's interesting. There was something very specific about the symbol that she used. Let's see. She said something significant about it. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, maybe it wasn't here. Maybe it was on the website. Because she goes into detail on the different cards, the symbology of what's on the different cards in the website. And there was something to do with, she changed the symbol a little bit. And I thought that was very interesting. And I should have written that down, but.
When you come across it again.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. Interesting.
I wanted to show you. So I've been working on the concept of forgiveness. Then I've also been doing a lot of personal, like, unblocking of old stuff in the past. And then I knew that I needed to make an art project to reflect this like energetic unblocking, devil untangling. So this is the piece that I've been working on.
Oh, how cool is that?
And
that's beautiful.
You can kind of see.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
And then up here, all this structure down here is connected to this. Oh, it's so hard to see. But this top piece, and the idea that like all of this entanglement, which has become so systematic and all like automated, needs to give way to something much more chaotic and beautiful. And so it's like very easy to just snip that little fabric and release it all.
Very cool. And that upper piece reminds me of that conversation that we were talking about the universe spiraling.
I'm obsessed.
That's very cool. It's very cool. And of course, you're wearing your spiral on your head.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. And I wanted this, there's a part of it that looks like a wheel or a sun. I kind of wanted to get this feeling of like the spirally Yes, exactly. Ties in.
Very cool. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's so cool.
Yes. Other thoughts on devil? This is all so juicy and exactly what I have been working through as well.
Yeah, it just seems like it's very, I feel like I'm at a point where I can very easily, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. I feel like I'm at the point where I could fall off the path as far as like the spiritual work. But then again, I don't think that's true. I think that's an old story. I think that's happened before, but I think it's just the path is changing and it's taking a different direction, and that's okay. And I'm trying to let myself accept that and go with the flow of it's changing and not judge it and overthink it and cause the self-sabotage. Like that's easily how my thought process could easily go down that road. And I would much rather not do that again.
We've been here. We've done this before.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a big part. That's a big part of the devil, is having the honesty to see the patterns, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And the way that pattern may have been helpful and useful at the beginning, which is why it got integrated into our system so well. And that
could have been
now,
a protective mechanism. Who knows what the heck it was doing?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And who knows, like maybe the protection that you've put in place here has saved you from great pain and suffering. That could have been a huge blessing. But right now, it's making you play small. That you no longer need the protection of that, but it's all like it's a pattern, so it's showing up again. And I'm a big believer, like if the devil shows up, it means you are ready to look at it. It's not like happening to you in the shadows and oh no, like no, if it's here, it means the universe is ready for you to take some action here. I often think of the devil as like when there's like a test or a challenge shows up and you're like, ooh, I am meeting my demons today. Yeah. The good news is that usually it means the good stuff is nearby. It's like I have to just prove that I'm ready.
And the word that came to me was worthy. So that goes to tell you what my work is. Definitely self-worth challenges going on always.
Interesting. Okay, so I love this phrase, make you small. I think this is a big highlighter of where the work is. So where do you make yourself small? When do you find yourself? What languages are you using? What behaviors? With whom? Noticing all those places. Okay, so as a companion then, my monthly medicine, I just pulled a random card and I don't know why it felt just so right, but it's the 8 of Wands. And I had so much fun researching and looking into this card because I think it's such an abstracted vision of this energy that I've always kind of had a sense of it, but now I feel like I'm ready to fully embrace it. I also think it feels like really relevant to like the stuff that's happening.
Okay.
So my biggest first serious lesson around the 8 of Wands was it was the card that showed up the most when the pandemic shut everything down, which was confusing to me because I always thought of the 8 of Wands as like sudden, quick movement. But now I translate it into a surge of energy because it's so like when we were shutting down, think of the immense amount of energy it took for us to change our behaviors to shut everything down. So I think of it as like a surge of energy. It also feels, has echoes of the tower, that kind of like flash, lightning, happen surge of energy that's at the core of the tower, which is like, it's not like a slow crumbling tower. No, like a sudden event, shifting, changing everything. Well, this has the same kind of like suddenness, influx of energy, passion. Also, I think of sometimes like this is what is needed when inertia has like taken hold, is like an object at rest is going to stay at rest unless a force pushes it. This is the force that pushes it.
Can I share something with you?
Yes.
Can I show you what the first thing that I wrote on my paper today was? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Can you see what it says right across from the date?
The future taking time.
Oh,
no.
Right here.
8 of Wands. Stop it.
I was shuffling the deck as I was waiting for the computer to come on. I was shuffling the deck and I was like, all right, let me just get the energy into the cards. And I'm shuffling the deck and I'm shuffling the deck. It fell out twice. And I picked up the pendulum and said, is this my card for the day? And it said, no. You said it. And I was just like, you should just say 8 of Wands. There's no way you should just say 8 of Wands.
Cool.
I swear to God. Oh my God. Okay,
so I ended up spending most of my time, I love this so much, it's just perfect. So I spent most of my time researching Crowley's work around this. He's very esoteric, and I kind of appreciate like how it's just much more abstracted, much more about energy. And so one of the things that to think about is like the number 8 with the 8 of Wands. The 8 is a very like organizing, Virgoic kind of energy. It's like using the mind to kind of create sense. It's like a meaning maker number. It wants to get it all together so that it makes sense. But then you have also this like burst of energy, fire, which is like motivation, action. So there's this feeling of both of like, quick, I need to make sense of this situation. And Crowley says the ultimate goal of this card is to forge a new path or solve a problem. There's this feeling of like having come up against a dam or some kind of blockade or resistance, and having enough oomph to finally figure out that problem, to finally figure out, you talked about a new path. Yep. And this kind of almost, it makes me, I have a lot of watery images connected to it. Things like the Hudson Bay, we know, was formed from when the Ice Age, when it was all receding, and a lake hit, it burst its seams, and all of the water from this ginormous lake comes rushing down the Hudson and just slammed all the land away, swept it away, and created this whole harbor. So like this quick rush of energy. Gotcha. It also really the energy of an impulse, or like an electrical message sent through your body, or a twinge or a surge of energy. Like there's something here about paying attention to the internal signs, I guess, like what is being communicated. Because like thinking about like the brain, for example, is combining, like nothing in our body is necessarily good or bad. It's just a collection of signals that are being sent to the brain, and then the brain is deciding, do I like this experience? Do I not like this experience? Right. So there's this kind of sudden influx of information that the brain is trying to like figure out what this is. So flash of inspiration, the urge for insight. It very much goes well with the new moon in Aries vibe too. Of, everything goes direct coming up here. Do you happen to know like where this in your chart is happening?
Oh gosh. I watched the Jane International and I don't remember. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look.
That might give you some insight into like what realm of your life is getting all of this momentum, all of this oomph energy of the Aries new moon. There's like a hint. I've heard people call it a kazemi. It's when the sun and the moon are in the same sign, and it doesn't happen too often, and it's fairly lucky.
That's cool.
Right? I didn't write any of my notes down, but what stood out for you when I was talking about it, or what was resonating?
Let's see. Okay. I wrote down about 8 being very Virgo energy and using the mind to make sense, to make it all make sense. Mm-hmm. Bursting into action. But I like that with the sort of Virgo aspect of it, it's focused action. It's not just like running around like a nut. And I wrote that the goal is to forge a new path and solve the problem. You mentioned that I had talked about the path changing. And so I wrote down next to that when you said flash of inspiration is sometimes what it feels like. And then I was writing notes about you commenting about it being the new moon in Aries and that stuff. So that's where I got to.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I'm curious now to look at the other card and see what it looks like. I saw it twice. So I think I remember
right?
what it looks like in this deck. But yeah, that's very interesting. As you were talking about it, I was thinking of adrenaline rush, but in a good way. Not like I'm scared, so I have an adrenaline rush, but like the adrenaline rush where you jump into positive action and not that you're fleeing. But
yeah, it reminds me of what does Oprah say about luck? Luck is opportunity meets preparation, where all of a sudden there's a sudden opportunity for you to use all the skills and the things that you know how to do well, and you're like, I know what to do. Yeah, that's that feeling. I know what to do. Oh my God, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I think so many people are ready. Like people, I can't tell you, there's like this real theme of like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing the good work and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
right.
Yeah. Did you find it?
And then of course that there comes that trust of I'll be shown what it is if I pay attention. Well, if I don't flip into the self-sabotage and the nonsense and the here we
go. Interesting. Reminds me of the Care Bear stare. Our powers combined. Or Captain Planet. Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so while I was doing these and I was thinking about your Tower card and in your question about your business and your spiritual work, and I was thinking of, so one of the things I've been thinking about doing with my business, for example, is I've been thinking of separating Erin Mahalit's The Brand from Magical Homemaking, the school, and turning it into like the School of Magical Homemaking, something that could like live without me or eventually grow into its own like little entity of thing. But Erin Mahalit's, she like is a tarot coach. That's her thing, and she participates and founded the School of Magical Homemaking.
Gotcha.
Anyways, and I was thinking about collaboration, and your card so clearly like looks like magical wands coming together to create this new thing. Just had me wondering what will come of the Lisa Ferry, Erin Mahalit's collaboration? What things might be made and done? As you gain clarity around, was it you who said, came up with the quote of like, I really want my job to be my hustle and my life to be my like job?
It wasn't me, but it sounds wise.
Right? That's what I want to. I'm like, can my job be like my side hustle? Like that thing that I love to do and I go and do it. And I have like these cool people that I get to hang out with and like, and then my life though is like the thing that I'm like the legacy of connection and friendships and laughter, and like that's the work of it. Yeah.
Well, this process is certainly going to bring us clarity, because the Eight of Wands thing is kind of bugging me out. And I also love that, I don't know if you noticed, but all the colors in the card are in your lovely wrap there. I don't know if you noticed that. It's hard to see. My camera doesn't really show colors very well, but it's definitely
like the pinks and the blues and the greens and the turquoises. Yes.
I think that's awesome. That's so fun.
That is awesome. Okay, so I wanted to share with you, because while I was researching it, this tarot spread came to me that I wanted to share with you, because I was thinking about, you're talking about a new path, and I have been toying around with this idea of similarly of like a new path or like a new timeline, and how to kind of break out of like the chronological thinking of it. Like it's going to take so long because it's going to take so long for me to get from A to B in order to get to that new path kind of. But what if it was more like the new path is here? It's like always been here. And it's less about going here and meeting up where they meet up, but more of like, boop, elevating. Yeah. Okay, so my tarot spread, I don't know how to make this in, but I want to make it where it's really, you fold the page. So it starts out with like, what story are you living out right now? And then kind of like, what is your left brain busy doing and what is your right brain busy doing?
Okay, interesting.
Was interesting for me. My left brain, so that right-handed logical side of the brain, my left brain is busy with the Four of Swords, which is like all about resting. But my right brain was working on the Five of Pentacles, which is really like reprogramming my belonging story. Okay, so go from this, what story are you living out right now? And then fold the page. And on top of the story that you're living is the lesson you are learning.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like take a step back, gain some perspective. Also, they like the idea like that now it's like on the back side of it. That's where my devil showed up. And then below it is because you are breaking away or breaking free from. And then I turned the page. So now I'm on the other side of the original square, which was what, and now it's what's the new reality that you're elevating to? I wonder if I can, I'm going to make it so that you can fold it. But the idea is like, this is your new reality and this is where you're headed.
Okay.
So my new reality was the Queen of Cups headed to the Lovers.
Cool.
I know. Anyways, and then, yeah. Do you want to try?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay. So and I think we'll just do pieces of it at a time. So we'll just do the first part for right now. And we'll come back around to the next thing. So this is going to be current story. Left brain is doing this. And right brain is doing this. Okay. Do you want to pull cards? Do you want me to pull for you?
Let's see what the pendulum says.
I love it.
Let's see. Pendulum says it's better if you pull the cards.
Cool.
If that's okay.
Yeah. Here for it. Okay. The current story that you're living in, according to tarot, is the Star.
Well, that's nice.
That is nice. Yeah. Left side of the brain is busy with so this is that logical part of the brain, the one that thinks it's got everything under control, very ego-ish, the 7 of Wands. And the right side of the brain, which is like the more intuitive, more receptive, more maybe creative, is the King of Pentacles.
That's interesting.
So, how does it feel like your life, you're living out the story of the Star?
I don't know. I really don't.
What is it, when you think of the Star, what are your first thoughts?
No, it's almost, I guess what pops into my head all the time is like when you wish upon a star kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like fulfillment, I guess is the
Wishes
word.
coming true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hope, rebirth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
All of that. Mm-hmm. Does it feel like that's kind of where you're at, or the story that you're living out?
I almost feel like that should have been the card on the right. Like that's what the hope is. Like I guess I'm living in the hope of. And if that card is about hope, then that's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I suppose is what I should say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then if we look at like what the right brain is doing, the King of Pentacles, and maybe we could see it as being like, you had this thought of like, I am trying to make the story about the Star, or I'm hoping that the story is about the Star. Where like what shifts when you have this statement of like, oh no, like really, you're in the Star phase. Like that is really what's happening. Then your right brain, that kind of more intuitive side, doing a lot of earthing, a lot of grounding, a lot of, you brought up like food addictions. There's a great way for the body to like ground stuff, get rooted. Not always like to our benefit, but like as
to our physical benefit. Yeah.
Maybe like long term. But or like if to gain awareness that if that is a strategy that you're using to stay earthed, rooted, grounded through this transformative experience where you're emerging something new and raw, and wishful, then what other activities are grounding and rooting, right? So is it the walking? Is it meditating? Is it sitting with rocks, taking baths with minerals? What is the...
Definitely getting out into nature.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Can't wait to get
tarot
outside.
is yelling at me at this point, like, go outside.
And my dogs are too. I don't know if you can hear it. It's really embarrassing. My dog she's nesting under the desk. So every once in a while she's going.
Oh, okay. I think I was hearing something, but I couldn't make meaning of it. I was like, I don't know what that sound is. But now I know.
It's the dog under the desk going.
Dog that really needs to go for a walk. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then your logical brain, this is classic, is like, I got this. I can figure it out. I can do all the things. I'm going to do the things, all the things to make this star thing happen. And did I tell you the Chinese phrase around when nothing is done, nothing is left undone? So Martha Beck, who was on the podcast, We Can Do Hard Things, she goes to China for her undergraduate and she comes back and she's like, oh boy, these Americans, they're so stressed out. They're just constantly doing. In China, she had seen a different way of being, because Americans think that if they're not doing something, then they're not contributing. Nothing will happen. If I stop doing, nothing will continue to keep happening. But the Chinese have this way of their belief system of that the universe, the force has its own intentions for you. And that when you finally stop trying to force the path this way, the universe can pick you up and throw you at the place where you're needed most, where you will thrive, where your skills, talents, deeds, thoughts are best suited. And your busy brain is like, no, but I got this. I got to-do lists. I have mapped out the whole rebirthing process. You don't understand. There's a retreat at this time, and there's the tarot at this time, and I'm going to meditate for this long, and I am going to rebirth myself.
And it's funny because, and that's one of the things that made me start picking up the pendulum so often, is because I know that I don't make good decisions when I'm in that place. Like, it doesn't matter what my brain comes up with. It's just like, would you shut up, because you're wrong. You're going to be wrong. I guarantee you're going to be wrong, which makes me go, what is it? What words in my head can I actually trust? Do you know what I mean? When is it my brain and when is it my heart? And trying to get not the difference between, but the sort of balance between the two. And like, so using the pendulum was my way of gauging what's true.
Mm-hmm. I love that it engages your body and like a stone, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, now I want to pull the next cards.
And I love that 7 in numerology is like the path, right? Or is that astrology?
It could be, because I've never heard that, but I love that, because the 7s are always about how you're going to get what you want. What is your path? So each element shows up differently. In the 7 of Wands, it's like, I will this to happen. I will use movement and action, energy and force to get what I want, or to, bring it to conclusion.
Yeah. And more often than not, when I stop trying is when synchronicities happen, as long as I'm paying attention. The synchronicities are happening regardless, but I have to make sure, if I'm paying attention, I will see them and things will move forward much faster than if I was, like you said, the universe will throw you where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is then, if we change this to the lesson that you are in and breaking free from this old concept of self. I can't look at the old cards. I have to put in blanks. There we go. Much better. Be fun if one of our cards popped up here. Okay, so the lesson is the 8 of Wands.
Okay then. It wasn't my card of the day, it was the lesson. Okay.
And you're breaking free from the 5 of Pentacles. Which is not so different from the Devil. You have two individuals who are playing small. They're not stepping into their worth because of what? We don't know. That's the question. Why don't they go into the chapel where they could be warm, safe, and protected? Or are they on their way?
I was just going to say that maybe the door is that way and not that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This 8 of Wands feels a lot too. You were talking about the pendulum and this like trusting your instincts, trusting your impulses. It's interesting because the lesson is the 8 of Wands and your left brain was the 7 of Wands. There's a difference here of like, I will make it happen versus it's happening.
And I will let it happen. I'll allow it to happen, as opposed to going back to the playing small and not acknowledging.
Mm-hmm. And maybe there's a sense here of like, you're ready though. Again, like the Oprah quote, that opportunity or luck is an opportunity with your skill set. Like you are ready for this surge of energy.
That's interesting. I feel as though this stomach virus happened at a very interesting time. I think it's been an opportunity to cleanse a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
to maybe stop relying on like you said, rather than relying on the food stuff to ground, now that it's time to get outside again, it's given me the opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. And to let go of the food a little bit, to let go of the not toxic, but just the less healthy way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in a weird way, it's like part of the grander work of like stepping into your worth, of like yeah, like it's your body, you are worth it to me to take, or I'm worthy of self-care. I am worthy of delicious whole grains foods, and I have the energy to like do that hard work. Yeah. Well, and I'm just going to pull one last card, which is going to be like, what is the upgrade? King of Pentacles again.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it really kind of emphasizes what you were saying about, you know, stepping away from the food, the places, the things that where you're playing small, and really just stepping into your worth, your value, stepping into your relationship and interconnectedness with nature, stepping into your in spirit in life, where the food, the sacred ingredients of your recipes, really living in connection to the magic of your world. That's exciting.
That's interesting. I was thinking of you this morning partly because we were meeting today, but also like I like to put in gratitude into things like when I'm aware, when I'm doing things consciously, I'm trying to be grateful for the person who baked the bread that I'm eating right now, or as I'm cutting the bread, I'm putting it into the toaster. Thankful for the person who made the knife to make it easy for me to do this, and the electricity to toast my bread. And so I was doing that very intentionally this morning, because I was thinking about what you say when you tie your apron, and that being part of your ceremony. So I was doing that this morning, and I feel like that King of Pentacles, that was bringing that up. It was bringing up that just
what you say when you tie your apron.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yes.
Cool.
And I also think that the question around your business and stability and financial freedom, and I think there's a nod in there too of like really being the boss of your financial, physical stability, feeling really strong, rooted, nourished.
Definitely.
Yeah. It feels a lot less like he is not the star. Like she's so naked, so vulnerable, really raw. And he's like so rooted and grounded. And he has a lot of boundaries and protective clothing. And yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad.
For you. Because he's got the wolf, which is definitely one of my spirit guides. Like you said, he's like cool with it. He's nice and mellow, and but there's the wolf for protection.
And is he sitting in like a library?
Yes, definitely. He's on like a beanbag chair in a library. Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I often associate books with swords, but I really like the invitation here to think of like our books as like, think about in science fiction and how ideas that were put in Star Trek books or whatever, like have become actual reality.
I say that all the time. I know. In Master Networks, there's lots of book clubs and things, and everybody reads, but only reads like business books. And it's come up several times, and I don't join the clubs anymore, partly because I love to listen to that type of book, and I love to read fiction, like because it's something that I love to do. And there's a great disdain among some of those folks of people who read fiction. And I was like, you rely on so much technology that would never have happened if it weren't for fiction writers. So, and they can't seem to make that connection. And I find that so funny.
King of Pentacles here is like, in a way, sitting in this library, it's like he's so well resourced that he can just relax in this gorgeous library full of all these incredible, like, and he has space to imagine and dream what's next.
Love that.
I wanted to ask if there was anything that has come up in the course that were there any glitches or weird things? The next quarter, I'm going to be moving the class from one platform to another, and it gives me an opportunity to fix and tweak things. So if you notice things, let me know.
Only thing I noticed was there was one little typo, and I meant to circle it, but I will find it because it was in the very, very beginning. Oh crap. I feel like it was here. I will find it and get back to you right away. I promise.
Sure. Screenshot it or something.
Yeah.
First impressions. Well, in general, typos drive me crazy when I'm reading them. I'm like, did you not have an editor?
I know. I have a friend who catches me every time, and I'll have read it 3 times, and I'll have had someone else read it, and yet every time she's like, just want you to shine. She sends me the typo. I'm like, thanks. Sorry. But no, everything, I think I emailed you, but I don't know if you saw it. I had emailed you the Jane International link for.
Oh yeah, I did see it. I haven't gone over there yet. I'm excited.
No, that's okay. But I had said it's just so, I don't know, it's so thoughtfully put together, and it's just so, it's easy to follow. The lessons are short, so you're not sitting there,
Good.
There's nothing about it that's overwhelming. It can click from one thing to the other, and it's so beautifully put together. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then what kind of, any questions come up? Anything that you were like, tell me more, or wonderings?
Okay. So let's see, what would my notes for? No, my cards of the week were coming out interesting, but okay. Like, I wasn't having trouble with I was writing down my thoughts first, and then, as you suggested, and then going in and doing some research, and that's going well.
Oh, good.
So I wasn't shocked.
Any interesting cards come up for you lately, or patterns you're noticing?
Yeah, certainly. Let's see. There was Ace of Cups had come up, 4 of Cups had come up, but there was another card that had come up, and I don't seem to be able to find it. I know I took, oh, you know what? It came up in the self-study. That's why. Mm-hmm. It's in my workbook.
Oh yeah.
I know it's in the workbook. I've got all my pages all flustered here.
So many pages. I love my work. I love the pages.
And I haven't had a chance to actually put them into sleeves and put them in a binder, so I've got them sort of all over the place. But you know what? Something interesting did come up, though. I think the other one was maybe the 5 of Cups, the one that I'm looking for. I would know if I saw the card before I would even see the notes. I don't know if I don't took a picture of it, but
so much cups.
But it was interesting. They were both such sad cards, like and I was just like, all right, this is not a good place right now.
Right? This kind of reflects my stomach issues. But honestly, though, like, that might be exactly what it was doing. Like the cup, like your belly, that's very like cup world. All the liquids of that.
That makes sense.
4 of Cups is like, do I want to put that in my belly?
Yeah.
Like, is that what I want to spend my energy and time on?
I loved the look on her face. It was just like,
Yeah, no, right?
But I loved, oh, that was the other thing. I noticed that was the day after we met, and this big red band again. So that red
Mm-hmm.
root chakra energy again that we had been
Yeah.
talking about. But something came up for me that was interesting with your questions, which I thought were so neat. The wonderings.
Yeah.
What do you know? What do you want to know more about? What are you excited to learn? And the concerned about part struck me as very interesting. And what I wrote just off the top of my head as I read the question was that I'm unable to trust my intuition, that I don't have the gifts necessary to actually read the tarot. Am I just fooling myself? Am I giving my power away to the pendulum? So am I using the pendulum as an excuse to not make a decision on my own? You know what I mean? Like, I thought, and I hadn't questioned that before, really. So I thought that was interesting. But I don't get that feeling when I use it. I don't think I'm in that headspace when I use it. I don't feel like I'm in that heart space when I use it.
Well, and it could be that it's what you need right now to hear it, to see it, to connect it. Because eventually there'll start to be other corresponding experiences along with the pendulum. You'll notice where it feels in the body. You'll notice if it's sounds or if it's, what are the impulses. But maybe what it's doing is it's making visible what is hard to hear right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but trusting that your body, again, like your body is the conduit to, your intuition is finding any way out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it makes me intentionally focus too. It makes me not do the fall asleep thing and just blah through it and not pay attention.
Okay, so I need you. So I finally found my pendulum. I've been thinking about it. I was like, and I want to know. I want you to show me, show me what it looks like, because I was working on this today too. And okay, well, can I tell you what I did?
Yeah.
I brought my pendulum out and I had it next to me while I was reading on the 8 of Wands.
Okay.
And I told it what I wanted it to do. So I said, back and forth, which is like for me, like a head nodding yes. I was like, can you do that when it's like, yes, this is for you? And then I was like, and can you do this when it's like a no for you or like not so important? I think that kind of worked. But you're right. There's like a really strong presence.
Yeah. I'll show you what mine does. And just because I have this little, I don't know if you see this is a little goddess on one end and then the stone on the other. My sister-in-law gave this to me years ago. I love this. So I lay her across my palm.
Oh my gosh.
And I hold it like this. And if I say, show me my yes, it circles. And if I say, show me my no, it's back and forth or front to back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if I'm sitting and I'm reading something, it'll just sort of be quietly sitting. And then as something I notice, or it'll be saying no if it doesn't correspond. Yeah. And then as I start to talk about something that resonates, you can see it's already starting to swirl.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. So that's what I do with it. But whatever feels right is, there's no right or wrong with it. It's just whatever yes looks like to you and what no feels like to you. So
I love that this comes up in the concern too, because I honestly think like for me, the journey with tarot is that journey. It's the journey. It's not when I am intuitive, I will read tarot. No, as I read tarot, I become more intuitive. That's been my journey.
And that's true with the energy work as well. Like
the more you do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, I love that. Because I think that was always my fear behind it, of with tarot is I'm not intuitive. I'm not psychic. Is the kind of the storyline I had for me.
Right.
But now I like know that it's different. Every person is like so different. For me, my my intuition speaks to me in different flavors and different kinds of ways. Like, for example, when I'm doing this and I'm picking a card, there's a certain kind of like tension or like that hits like a relief valve. When I stumble upon the card, I'm like, oh, it feels at ease. But like when I'm reading tarot to people, it's like a knowingness of which story, like a certain story comes to my mind. And I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this story. Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then anything come up? Oh, anything that particularly caught your eye? Something that's like working on you from the content? Things from the history or the background that have kind of resonated with you and lingered with you?
Not necessarily, but I found it very interesting. Like I knew it had a very long history, but I didn't realize how it's had sort of how it evolved. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought the evolution was very interesting.
I think for me, one of the things that's important is that this is not some like magical orb that has inherent magical powers that everybody agreed upon, but more of like it evolved and like people were very intentionally using the language of visuals to convey spiritual teachings. To me, that's really helpful. And then how, the art of it is really in the kind of the reading it and the intuitiveness of it, and being able to take like 3 cards to go back to the story and just read, what is the character doing? What is the story at play? And then what's so nice too about that exercise is write out the story without judging it, without getting metacognitive about it, without like jumping to conclusion of like, oh, this is really about such and such. But instead, writing it all out and then reading it to yourself and noticing, oh, how does that show up? You have a lot of fire next to your swords guy. Wind and fire are expansive together. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right, so since there is a little bit more time, I thought we would do the final phase of this tarot reading that I created.
Oh, sure. That's good because I don't think I wrote everything down as well as I should have.
That's good because I'm gonna make it. I want to make it so you can print it out and like fold it over. I liked the idea of like challenging the linearity of it.
Yeah, that's definitely neat. But
Okay.
I can totally see myself like getting totally OCD and not being able to figure out how to do it.
And how to fold it. Okay, so when I was thinking about this tarot spread, I was thinking about, okay, so here you've got your upgraded self, your King of Pentacles. And there's this bit of like, well, why? Why do I need to upgrade? Like, what's next? What is the next challenge? What is the next journey? And I put next to here, like, this is information that your soul is receiving and information that your spirit is receiving that leads you to conclude that this is what needs to happen next. And for the purpose of this is I'm going to say soul. I don't really have a clear definition on soul versus spirit, but for today, we're just going to talk about like like ground up knowledge, the earth in your body. And spirit
almost
is,
like the visceral.
yeah. And spirit is being more of, I want to say like consciousness and like energy. And so, you know, your beingness, your King of Pentacles is therefore going to take like these two impulses and be like, this is where the force wants to take me. As a co-creator with the universe. And where you want to go.
All right.
Okay, so from soul, we're getting Empress vibes. Absolutely, it is spring.
Cool.
Empress vibes. Ooh, from spirit, we're getting 9 of Pentacles vibes.
Well, that's good too.
She's real good. And up next, we have the Page of Wands. Somewhere. Which goes really well with the 8 of Wands.
That's good. What were your thoughts when you saw the Empress and thinking about earth and body information? Just how she's so she's just so like confident but cool about it, and like always connected to the earth. You can see how everything, you know, the woods are all around her, and just like in charge but not
doing.
Yeah.
In charge but not doing.
Yeah, she's just kind of like, it's all good. It's all happening the way I want it to.
I once saw this Hawaiian shaman. He was talking about breaking up the divine feminine and the divine masculine that exists in all of us. He really saw the divine feminine as being the aspects of ourselves that is like, this is pleasure, this is quality of life. And the Emperor being like, I'll make that happen for you. So exactly. In charge, good taste.
Sure.
Pleasure, beauty, sensuality. Yeah. Languish, but not like atrophy. Okay, so but then on spirit consciousness energy level, getting this 9 of Pentacles, what say you of this energy here?
It just looks like a similar vibe, like,
I mean, literally, they have got flowers on their dresses.
Yeah, out in nature.
Out in
nature.
A
little hawk there.
Yep.
You know, it's almost like the ideal would be the Empress, and here's the resources that allow that to be possible.
Yes. So your body and your body and your soul are like, ugh, it's like all about pleasure, the good life, eating well, being in nature, feeling confident. And your spirit is like, yes, girl, lean in. You've got the resources, the support, which is totally coming from your King of Pentacles upgrade. Remember, I mean, like, this is also, can we see here how like whatever this lesson is, this star moment is like cutting off the ties to this old self that is like, I will not be provided for. I will be in rags. I don't have a safe place where I belong. And this is like, and then we upgrade. Poof. And we step, we don't walk down the path. We step on to the next one.
Yeah.
Where we feel resourced. And then, I mean, there's your fiery energy too of like, get something started, light a match. Reach out. Call someone. Get something started. There's also a moment here though of like, he's got the vibe of, you know, when you're doing jump rope and you're doing double dutch and you're like, okay, is it time? Is it time to get in? Do you know what I'm talking about? Right? He's got that
anticipation.
Right? He's like watching the rhythm, the flow, and the energy. And he's like, and now jump. But he's kind of like watching, getting curious, noticing the energy. Any other thoughts about that, fella?
Yeah, that's interesting. And the Empress, when you were talking about the divine feminine energy of the, it's very yin. Again, it's about that allowing as opposed to the action. So you got to allow first for the resources to come without getting the self-worth and the self-sabotage and the nonsense in the way of it in order to start the next thing. So it's like, this is what I have to clear before, this is why the path, the next branch of the path is unclear. You know what I mean? I've got to get through this process of allowing first before that can happen. And
maybe too, like a hint of, it was always here. Like, make sure you're taking a look around, look at the overwhelming abundance that you have, reveling in the gifts that are surrounding you. And because there also is this feeling of like a new project is on the horizon. And you will come at it well-resourced, grounded and rooted in your understanding of what success looks like and feels like. You'll be well-nourished with laughter and good food so that you're ready for the next project.
Right. And the Eight of Wands, I'll have the energy to do it because of that.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. Also very resonates.
Yeah.
I think like this new moon though, all of these planets moving forward in Aries, there's a great sense of like, maybe it's not like this big action that leads to like directly a big result, but maybe that feeling of like just getting it started, putting some energy in the direction and then letting it snowball with this momentum.
Keeping that sort of intention that's top of mind.
You
know,
it makes me think of like hanging out with and journaling around when I'm living in my Empress vibe. What does that look like, sound like, feel like? Or when I'm in this Nine of Pentacles place, you know, this King of Pentacles, well-resourced, grounded and rooted, what does that look like, sound like, feel like?
Yeah.
And then just remember, like, you're here. This is where you are right now. It's a weird thing of like the tension between what's coming, but what's here. I have to be here to receive what's coming.
Yeah, it's almost like emotionally, I have to maintain this place of hope in order for everything to come to fruition. Can't speak to it, you know?
Yes, and you are in the story of hope. You don't have to do anything to maintain it. It's all it is. That is your story.
Okay.
Yours is the story of hope, rebirth, and renewal. You don't need to do anything to make that true. How can you who is she when she's rebirthed, renewed, and reinvigorated? If she knew she was supported, if she knew she was grounded and healthy and whole. Don't make the story, live the story. Receive. The Empress is the archetype of receiving. Receive the story. And I mean, if there ever was a time to be in a story of rebirth, every daffodil, every bloom, every blossom is just confirmation, evidence that this is a time of rebirth, renewal, hope, reinvigorating, light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Like it.
Not a bad place to head off into. Okay,
No.
so for homework, I would just say keep digging in, because we'll focus on some teachings next week. And I'm leaning into looking at the wands or wands and cups. Because I think, isn't that where the thingy goes next? Is that what's after basics?
I believe so.
I think it's the elements.
Oh, yeah. I think that's true. Let's see. Where am I now?
It'll be kind of a nice dive into fire energy, which is really what we are leaning into seasonally as well. Yeah. So we will look at the wands.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
I'm sending you off with all my gratitude. So much fun. And I have a new idea for an endeavor that I'm going to write to you in an email about separately.
Cool.
Thinking about tarot parties, like a tea and tarot, or a.
Honestly, I think that would be a fabulous idea.
Right? Like reach out to someone. And now like that we're in this pocket of time where we can like go outside a little bit more, and like people are feeling a little bit more comfortable without masks, like finding a place or a time to bring people together and read tarot, and like a stitch and bitch, but like tarot and bake, or something. Tarot and craft.
I think that's a great idea. Okay. I think that would be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing I meant to ask you about. Lisa
Yes.
mentioned that next Friday you guys are going down to the place in Peekskill.
Oh yes. What time are we doing that? Yeah. What did we say? I want to say that was Friday.
She thought it was Friday the 8th.
Yes. Friday the 8th. We were going to meet there at noon.
Would you could I tag along? Yes.
That would be so much fun.
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
maybe do lunch together?
Yes.
Ladies who luncheon?
Absolutely. There's Tina and I were thinking about, there's a little cafe like just around the corner, like up the block and around the corner from this place.
I love it.
And it's like a coffee tea shop, and you can get all sorts of fun goodies. And so we were going to go there for lunch. Yeah. Oh, I would love for you to come. That would be so much fun.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, good. Yay. Because I want to go see the place. I want to go on adventure. I want to be a lady who lunches. Yeah,
that would be so much fun.
Good. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be so fun. All right. Well, I'm going to send you off. I will see you next Thursday where we'll talk about wand energy. Just be, when inviting fire energy, always to be a little extra mindful. It tends to be unpredictable. I always caution myself. Don't get too excited about the fire.
I did light a candle before we started today.
Good. All right.
Which I don't normally do. But
Well,
fire always makes me very cautious. My teacher, Judith, used to say that we burned together in a previous lifetime. So fire energy is a little scary for me, but I have a lot of water, so it's okay.
Okay, right? So you can douse that fire, no problem.
Absolutely.
Speaking of dousing fire, will you blow out your candle as a symbol of closing our sacred space?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your week. I'll talk to you soon. I'll send you cards and audio file.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Yay. Ciao.